Hello, I am Deb Coviello, the Drop-In CEO, and as always, I want to welcome you to the show where week after week I speak to the most amazing leaders and experts who share their insights with you. And I know I am going to be so inspired by my guest's story. And just know we bring these resources to you because I truly want to support and partner with the C-suite leader to navigate their challenges and their opportunities with confidence. And this week, I am so excited to introduce to you Dima Ghawi. Dima is a Middle Eastern, I'm going to start that again, Liz. And I'm so excited to introduce to you today Dima Ghawi, who is a Middle Eastern in her genes at the core, American in her heart, and a global citizen in her spirit. She ignites the untapped potential in individuals across the globe, empowering them to shatter limitations and become courageous, purpose driven leaders. Her own journey is one of escaping confinement, crossing continents, and transforming her life's purpose. Harnessing the power of her story, Dima is committed to inspiring individuals to attain personal and professional growth. Dima, it is my honor to welcome you onto the show.
Hi, Deb. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, and I am too for my listeners. I was so excited she was introduced to me. And as always, I research my guest. She has such an inspiring story, uh, which is courageous in her journey. I think her message is going to be absolutely outstanding. And I think everybody can relate to the key thoughts that she's going to share with you. And then we are just going to go back and forth and bringing amazing insights to you. So, Dima, I am going to share the mic with you to share a bit about yourself and your story.
Yeah, thank you. My story started when I was 5 years old in my grandmother's kitchen. And we always played and we had fun time in her kitchen. But that day she was so much more serious. And she got a glass vase and she said, "Do you see this perfect glass? A girl is just like it. If it gets cracked for any reason, you can never fix it, you can never glue it back, and no one would want it. And that's the one we throw in the trash." So imagine being 5 years old. And what she was trying to explain to me is I have to be perfect. I have to follow. I have to obey. I have to worry about what other people think about me. I have to continue to lose myself to satisfy everyone around me. So that's where the story started. And to me, when I think about talking to you right now and being inspired by you and by your podcast, and hopefully our listeners will learn something from our discussion today, there's a lot of things that happened through all of this time, from the time I was 5 years old until today, of the messages that I got to learn, the lessons about this vase and what do we need to do about it in order to continue to advance and continue to be wonderful leaders and entrepreneurs that we make a difference in our world for our customers as well as our employees.
So I know there is so much more to that backstory, but I do want to go back to your grandmother. Was she just teaching you a life lesson or was she trying to protect you? What do you think? I'm just curious.
I think she was trying to protect me. She knew about the expectations that as a woman I had to deal with. And she wanted to protect me, but also protect the family as well. So if I do anything inappropriate or if I am not perfect, then that would affect the entire family.
So it's interesting that, you got this life lesson from somebody that you really, really cared about in the spirit of protecting you and protecting the family. But I think at some point along the way, while she had the right mind and the right heart to give you that advice, I believe in your journey, however, and about the vase, you realize that even though they were trying to give you the right advice, it no longer served you. So, what changed for you for which that advice was no longer valid for you?
So before it changed, what I did is I did everything that was expected of me. And when I was 19, I got engaged through a family introduction to the most eligible bachelor. And everybody was so happy. We got married. We moved to San Diego, California together. And that turned out to be a very abusive marriage. But I was programmed that I have to continue to be perfect. I cannot challenge the norm. I cannot do anything to discover who I am and to continue to grow. So I got into deep depression. And that depression was the best thing that ever happened to me because that's when I started reflecting about the stories I was told. I started reflecting about the life that I want. And it was not matching with the life I was living. So what I did, I escaped. And that is considered a crack in the vase. And as a result, my community, they disowned me. I had to deal with a lot of consequences, including death threats from my own father that I've been dealing with for the last 23 years. So there's always consequences. That's why it's difficult for us to take risk. That's why it's difficult for us to challenge the norm and to continue to grow as individuals. All of this they keep us small. So the reason I'm sharing this on a leadership podcast is it is the people we lead. We're going to have employees with different stories, with different backgrounds, with different challenges. And how can we get the most out of them? But at the same time, how can we help them on their journey of shattering these vases? So many amazing people showed up in my life, wonderful leaders that were part of helping me grow beyond these shards. And it brings a whole different purpose to leadership beyond just meeting the bottom line and aspiring to grow as a company. It is the difference we're making in our employees and the people around us.
This so aligns with my my tagline and my brand. I recently brought forward three words: lift, light, and lead, in order to leave a legacy. And what you're talking about is shining a light on one's gifts and bring them forward. I mean, we as leaders sometimes think we are um, dependent, or we have to be in service to stakeholders because we have to achieve certain results. And yes, that may be a statement of fact, but it's purely transactional. I found the greatest purpose in my leadership journey, and we're going to go back and forth in here, was when I started shining a light on the other people when they had such talent and they were keeping themselves small, when I could see them for all their potential and see them finally realize and become better contributors, more satisfied with the work, and ultimately not working as hard because people finally recognize their value. That is the legacy that you and I help organizations and leaders do for themselves and for their people. So I love the work that you do.
Thank you. And I love the image that you have behind you, the art, because it represents the crack, right?
Oh,
It is
yes.
it's bringing more beauty through bringing gold. It looks like a Japanese art that I got to learn about, where when something gets broken, they don't throw it away, like my grandmother said. They glue it with gold and platinum and silver, similar to what you have. And they consider that now it is so much more unique and beautiful than it was before.
All right, so we're going to be fans of each other during this interview. All right, listen, but that's true. It's interesting. I have a similar story because, again, I made all my own choices, but there were certain safe expectations. I identified as a creative, but then as I entered society and education, the better thing to do was, well, in order to get a job, in order to get money and be successful, I found my pursuits in the STEM, or science and technology.
Mhm.
I was smart, I was capable, I did well. That was safe, that was risk averse, and yes, I had a great career. But I too had those moments where depression, discovery, what have you, when I left corporate, when I was kicked out of corporate, to have that time to realize who I really was, and that I was starting to break out of those norms of, I'm a creative. Yes, I happen to have other skills, but I am so much more to the world. And I so support what you do, because people really have to have that time, that pause, that moment in time where they realize what their fullest potential is. Now, quick question: is your grandmother
Mm.
still with us? Is she still with us?
No, she passed away when I was 7 years old. So, yeah, she's no longer with us.
Okay, but her memory and her good intentions are still with us. And since you had those moments to realize what you were really supposed to do, did you then find you had people then in your sphere or your ecosystem to support you? Because obviously you had a community that you're no longer really connected with or supported you. You must have had to find a new community. What was that like, that transition for you?
Yeah, and that's where leadership comes into play. So I needed a job. I didn't have money. I was struggling. And every company I applied for, they wouldn't give me a job. My English wasn't great. My confidence wasn't great. So finally, I applied to Bank of America to get a teller job. And the hiring manager, his name is Matt. So was interviewing me, and I kept thinking to myself, here we go, another person who's not going to give me an opportunity because I am not having the great skills they're looking for. But at the end of the interview, he said something that stayed with me. And to me, it is so much leadership. He said, everybody starts someplace, everybody deserves a chance. I'm going to give you that chance. So he gave me a teller job, minimum wage, 10 hours a week. And yes, because that gave me the basic skill that I needed to build some confidence. If he didn't give me that job, I don't know if I would be in front of you today. And not only did he give me that job, and he invested his time in me. So he would train me. I was so scared and intimidated. I was always frowning, and he would put sticky notes all over my monitor, go at the end of the line and make funny faces so I would laugh and feel more comfortable. And to me, this is such powerful leadership. It is giving a chance to people, let them fail, let them learn, but at the same time open door for them that they really really need, and I needed that door. So I don't know what happened to Matt. I wish I can reconnect with him, but he truly gave me the chance that I needed. And as a result, I built some skills and confidence, ended up getting another job with Merrill Lynch, started making a little more money. And now I am working with people from all around the world, but it had to start someplace. And it started in that conference room, in that interview.
So there is such great insight here because I'm sure there's people in our audience, middle leaders, senior leaders, that, we have certain expectations for who we bring into the organization. They've got to have the right fit. We've got to have the right people on the bus, as goes the expression.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have to look a little bit deeper and look at the human. And in fact, there's somebody that I'm talking to right now. I know them. I have a project. I desperately need the project done. I'm not sure if they can do it. I perceive they have the ability to figure it out, and I want to give them a chance because I
Mm,
believe they can be greater than out what they actually are. And I'm looking at them maybe as potentially being a leader in my organization because I see
mm,
something. And I think the great message here is people should look a little bit deeper than what you see on a resume or on a LinkedIn profile. Seek to understand the human and see where the potential is because you never know. You don't know where Matt is anymore, but he left his mark on you.
mm. I totally agree. Yes.
Okay, so you jumped over a lot of stuff. So you went to Merrill Lynch. How then did you get into this space where you're inspiring others, talking about DEI and other such topics? What happened after Merrill Lynch?
Oh, wow. So much happened. I wanted to continue to grow. And in Arabic, we have a phrase that translates to knowledge is light and ignorance is darkness. So in Arabic is al-ilmu nur wal-jahlu dhalam. And I wanted more knowledge. I wanted more awareness. So I enrolled in a master's in business program. So I went to an MBA program at the University of San Diego. And that was after I escaped. So I escaped from that marriage. I was on my own, and I didn't have anybody that I felt was my role model, but I knew I can depend on education. While I was at USD, one of my professors, here's another good story. One of my
Yeah.
professors, his name is Dr. Starling. And he reached out to me and encouraged me to run to be the president of the student organization. And I was so shocked because I never saw myself as a leader. I was always programmed to be a follower. And this man wants me to lead the student organization. He saw me externally that I was working hard and doing my homework and doing well in my exams. He just didn't realize how broken I was inside. I was dealing with death threats. I was barely covering my expenses, depending a lot on student loans. But as if he saw something in me that I didn't realize. Again, another leadership um, person that saw something in me. And I kept resisting and I say, no, I don't know. Thank you. I don't know how to be a leader. But he just kept approaching me and I wanted to get rid of him. And I thought nobody was going to vote for me. And to my shock, I was elected. So that's when the leadership journey started. So here I am, a young woman. I was in my mid 20s, truly believing that I don't have value, I don't have identity, even though I was working on my master's, but there's somebody that saw something in me. And so I got elected. And that's how the whole journey started. I graduated with my MBA. I got some leadership experience because of the student organization. I got to join IBM in their leadership development program. And I truly, truly believe that I am the result of DEI initiatives. Right now, nobody wants to talk about DEI, but I am the result because IBM was investing in DEI, wanting to develop employees and leaders from different backgrounds. I am the result of it. And that gave me, I went through amazing mentorship programs and got to travel around the world, started managing global teams. And I got to a point where I loved what I did so much that I quit because I wanted to focus on developing people and working with people and growing leaders and helping them shatter the vases. So when we talk about leadership, many times we're like, as a leader, you need to do this, you need to do that. You go to LinkedIn and everybody is like preaching to the leaders. But if we simplify it and we say, what is the vase you're dealing with? Many times, the difficult leaders, they may have childhood insecurities, they may have low self worth, and as a result, it's coming across in an unhealthy way. But if we slow down and say, what is the image of perfection you're trying to preserve? What can we do to shatter that and help you discover your amazing leader within? And as a result, that's going to reflect on the team as well.
So when we're done with this interview, we are going to talk, Dima, because there are so many parallels to our lives. Again, for my audience out there, first of all, I just want to say I'm inspired by your story and your ability to articulate messages. It's absolutely amazing. But I too, senior year at university, I auditioned or I interviewed to get into their professional leadership program. I didn't think I could do it, but okay, I can speak, I can talk, I can write. I got into the professional leadership program, and then there
Mm.
was an event where they needed a team leader, and they voted for me, and I did not know what it
Oh,
was in my
wow.
persona. And then the funny thing is, after I graduated college, I also went into a manufacturing management development program because they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Mm.
So it's so interesting. And then I also will say, I'm a broken vase. And I think
Oh,
everybody at some point is a broken vase. But I think what we have to do is look at that broken vase, maybe be a little bit sad because it's broken. On the other hand, to your point, you can put it back together or create something so much more beautiful. Another vase.
yeah. Wow. Well, I love that you're a broken vase, and I agree with you. All of us, we're broken, but maybe that is part of our purpose. Maybe
Yeah.
that is part of all of us. We're here to shatter these vases, discover our potential, but also what matters is not just the shatter. What matters is how can we rise beyond these shards? What is going to give us the power to create our own life with our brokenness, with seeing the brokenness in our team, with seeing the brokenness in our customers, and make something bigger out of that?
So I love your story, your passion, your energy. This is going to be an amazing episode, but I'd love to now shine a light on the work that you do now. So go DEI is just going through some changes and transformation. There is always a
Mm.
need to understand the diversity of our workforce, whether it is diversity of thought or experiences, not just physical attributes. I would love for me to know more about your work. Like, what is your position? Why do you do this work? What is your unique angle in it? Because I still think there is a place for this work.
Yeah. So my work is all about creating healthy work cultures.
Mhm.
And when we can call it DEI, we can call it employee engagement. We can call it anything we want. It is a matter of having our team come to work and for us to get the most out of them and make sure that they feel fulfilled, that their job is bringing meaning into their lives, but also, which is so important, meaning to our customers and meaning to our bottom line, because to have a business, we have to be profitable. So I work with companies across industries, but there's certain messages that keep coming up regardless what industry I am supporting in the moment. And it is a lot of managers right now, what I'm realizing, they are scared of giving feedback. They are scared of having difficult conversations. They don't want to rock the boat, which is many times it is, they're trying to be perfect, but they're missing out on the opportunity of developing their people, letting go of the toxic employees. It's all the same messages over and over.
But why, I'm curious, do you feel that that's the current state of leaders being scared to provide feedback, critical conversations, or rock the boat? What are you seeing? I'm just curious.
In my opinion, I feel that they are afraid of being sued. So as a result, they would rather just stay quiet than say something and be maybe recorded. Or so as a result, they just don't want that. But there's another part of it is I feel as a culture, and not just in the US, we're losing the courage and we're losing the ability of truly standing up for what is right because we want to be liked, we want to be accepted, we don't want to be perceived as the bad leader that all the posts on LinkedIn is talking about. And as a result, we're missing out on the chance of truly creating a healthy work culture by developing our employees and giving them feedback. Maybe they don't know how to give feedback. Maybe they don't know how to create, like how to provide all of this. And this takes me back to one of the managers I had with IBM. He was my first manager when I became a manager. So that's my first management job, and he was my manager. And he called feedback learning moments. And he would tell me, okay, we're going to have a learning moment. So he shifted it from the concept of the fear of criticizing or making me feel judged, and he turned it into curiosity and learning. And I used to love these learning moments. I just wish more people do them.
It's funny. I just got off of a podcast interview, and they also asked me about three words for feedback. And I got this from somebody that worked for me, but I'll tell you, it was the best bit of feedback or managing up that I ever received. That, to your point, feedback can be perceived as negative, that it is not delivered in a timely way. Sometimes people hold a grudge from something they saw or you did 11 months ago, and you only get the criticism when it's your performance review. We need to take the fear out of these events, learning moments, or my three words that I use are what to continue, which is a strength. We should always acknowledge one's strengths.
Mm,
What can we start doing that might elevate a strength? And what
mm,
can we change to remove those things that detract from a strength? So it's always focusing on your zone of genius, what to add, what to subtract, and it's very forward looking. And so I find when we can either ask for what should I continue, start or change, or know how to give it in that way, it's very actionable, it's very positive. You remove the fear, you create conversation versus an imbalance in the energy. And so I love the work
yeah.
that you do. We need more of that.
Thank you. Well, we need more of your work as well. And I love what you just said about what can we continue doing that is healthy, that is positive. It is focusing on what is working, what are we going to stop without feeling insulted. It's not working for us. And what we're going to start doing new, which is creativity.
Mhm.
It is new adventures as a team that we're going to take to see if it's going to work, and we're going to continue do it or stop. So I like that.
And I'd love to shine a light on your work because we can talk back and forth and talk in generalities. We know that we need more of critical conversations, openness, and just have humanity connect with each other. But I would love to know a story of maybe somebody that you've worked with or a team where I would love to know where were they when you started helping them and where did they end up?
Yeah. With this story, I'm thinking the first thing that came to my mind is a company in the financial industry, and they were having a lot of issues related to inclusion. So when I started working with them, their board was not on board with any of these initiatives, especially with the resistance related to DEI. They were having a lot of turnover. So many employees were unhappy. Managers, they were struggling. They were always worried about their interaction with their team. So what it started with is just having conversations with the team members, with the board, with the management team, and identifying what are the issues. Why was there mistrust? Why was there team members coming to work and just coming for the salary? They don't feel that they are included or respected or any of that. So it many times we complicate things. In my situation, I just did surveys, I did focus group discussions, and got all of the information from them. And it's just by focusing on what we're going to do like this year, just have little initiatives. We're going to focus on them this year, a little more initiatives the following year. Now, when I look back and related to these DEI initiatives, turnover is so much lower. They're bored, they're focused on being so intentional, even at a time where there's not much going on with DEI, that they are continuing to diverse their board. Their leadership team, they're so much more self-aware because with these surveys, they got feedback about their performance, what they can do better, how can they communicate better. So they're becoming so much more aware. And we're moving forward, helping them realize that we're all we're creating this balance that is important for the culture, important for each of the individuals in the team. But also, we cannot say that it is that the culture starts from the top. The culture starts really from the bottom, and we're building everybody up by giving them feedback, by driving change, and working on building trust.
Yeah, it's wonderful work that you're doing. It's challenging sometimes though, because people will say we need to fix the culture, we need to fix turnover, and they go into these initiatives thinking they'll fix things, but it does start at the top. They have to have the self-awareness, and if the initiative doesn't work, then they say, "Oh, the initiative was what was broken." But
Yeah.
sometimes it's the leaders that they've never ever changed their mindset, that really they're the ones that set the tone, set the culture for the rest of the organization. I'd love to shine a light on you. I didn't read this in your bio, but you have received so many awards. It goes on and on. You have been recognized for your service for the 2014 President of the United States Bronze Volunteer Service Award. You have been the 2023 American Advertising Federation Mosaic Champion Award. You have so many awards as testaments to the work that you've done. But I guess of all of this recognition and the work that you've done, what are you most proud of?
Oh, wow. I feel the most I'm proud of is where I am right now
Mhm.
as a Middle Eastern woman who has a child in my past when I was 5 years old, who was taught to be silent, and now I'm speaking out loud and
Mm.
inspiring people from all around the world to be effective leaders, to be happy with who they are, and to keep shattering these horrible vases.
I'm going to cry because you and I, when we're going to be done here talking, I'm going to share a few more stories about the child. You know, one of the things I think about is that we come into this world, we are fearless. We jump off of trees, we scribble on paper. Life, we're fully free. And then we enter these cultures. We get advice from people that love us, and we think we're on the right straight path, but sometimes we get to this awakening, and I hope it's not too late for others to realize that while people were trying to protect us, it was not the path that we were meant to lead. And
Mm,
maybe we need to break our own vases sometimes to be able to break through where we're supposed to be.
yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
So I've really loved this conversation. I know we could go back and forth. Actually, I'm going to jump in and tell you one thing also. As a 5-year-old child, I was so talkative, so very talkative. I was identified as, gifted and talented. I was always getting very good grades. They even selected me to be the star of the play in kindergarten, at the fifth grade level. That's your entry point. And I remember singing. I remember loving to act. And then society started writing on my report cards to my parents. Deb is a wonderful child. She's very intelligent, but she tends to talk too much. Help
Mm.
us to keep her quiet. And that was the beginning of the end of me, like, really having my voice, and I would, over time, have the courage to speak up, and then it would be met with adversity. "You shouldn't have said things that way," or "That wasn't appreciated," or "Please stay within the lines. We appreciate your ideas, but we only need you to do X." I just really praise the work you're doing, and anybody out there that feels that at some point in their life, their voice has been squelched, their voice has been dampened, and they've not had that voice to put it out into the society. You do all kinds of speaking. I'm speaking, but I think the message for our audience is you have a voice. It needs to be heard, just like Dima. You should watch some of her videos that she's put out. Absolutely amazing, inspiring for everybody to have a voice out there. Everybody deserves to be recognized for their gifts, regardless of if it's a DEI initiative or what have you. Leaders, take heed of Dima's comments, because this is the legacy that you're going to leave. But Dima, I would love to share the mic with you one last time for any other thoughts that you want to convey to our audience to inspire them and go forward and break their vase and be the person
Mm.
they're meant to be.
Wow, thank you. I'm glad that, or I'm very grateful that you shared your story as well related to your voice. And I want to use this time to highlight how difficult it is when you are being shut down early on in your life to transition into your professional world. And here you are, you want to prove yourself, you want to continue to advance, but you have been programmed to stay quiet. So when we talk about people in meetings and they're quiet, they're not sharing their thoughts, they're not sharing their opinions, they're not contributing, it's so important for us as leaders to realize that it is our role to help them on their journey to shatter these horrible vases, the old programming. It is part of leadership because, again, there's no separation between our personal and business. And that's why it gives such a powerful meaning to leadership. We're challenging the norm, we're challenging the old programming, and we're helping our team evolve to their better self. We're giving them permission to do something that they were not allowed to do as a 5-year-old or 10 or 15. And in order for us to get their creativity and to be more innovative, we need to give them a voice. And that's why it's as if there's a spiritual side to leadership. And yes, we're so busy. We have a lot on our plate. It's a challenging world, but at the same time, it has such a big purpose, and it's very, very meaningful to be like Matt, to be like Dr. Starling, to be like the people that showed up in your life and encouraged you to discover your voice. You're not here just out of the blue. Somehow you discover that there's people that shaped who you are. And I'm so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful for the ones that showed up in my life as well.
So you have a wonderful voice, a wonderful style, and a wonderful passion for the work that you do. I would love anybody out there that first just wants to get to know you and be inspired, or perhaps do work with you. How can people connect with you?
So they can go to my website. It is my name, dimaghawi.com, and to reach out to me on my website. I have a lot of blogs. I'm doing all kinds of videos. I want to share. I want to make a difference in the world. So even if they're not ready to talk business with me, just reach out. I would love to provide resources to help create better leaders.
All right, Dima, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I want to thank you for dropping in on the podcast, and I want to wish you well and continued success.
Thank you.